where we put our words in a sentence is obviously important, guys. For instance, if we say, get in the DeLorean, man, it's pretty different than saying, get in the... Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xaereth Prevails. Today we're going to talk about which farm we should be farming next out of all the Galactic Legends, and all of the farms that are Galactic Legend level of investment. And first, I guess I should say, you guys can go check out my infographic. It's on my Discord server in the infographics channel. You can find the link to my video, or to my Discord server in the video description. And, I mean, I've posted this a few times, talked about it. I try to update this every time we have a major farm, so probably going to update this once we have the stuff for the Bo-Katan Mandalore requirements and everything. But one way or another, folks, this free. If you want it, you can share it with your guild, share it with yourself, print it out, share it with a goat. I mean, if you share it with a goat, could you please either send pictures or just let me know in the comments. I would be extremely intrigued and excited to see a goat eating this, or potentially even making use of it, assuming it's of more than average intelligence. So let's hope that I'm a more than average intelligence here, guys, while I outline what we're going to be doing here. So first off, let's talk about Lightspeed bundles. And this is something that happened recently, guys, about 6 or 7 weeks ago, something like that, where CG went crazy and they sold a bunch of characters. Like just said, okay, look, you can have all these characters completely farmed from nothing all the way to Relic 5, and then you can get a Galactic Legend unlocked almost right away. They did that for Rey, they did that for Supreme Leader Kylo, and they did that for Starkiller. And I mean, they even made the ships available. It was pretty impressive. And so, I mean, I couldn't find any good screenshots. I mean, I didn't spend a huge amount of time, if we're just being honest, guys. I did make this thumbnail for the video about it, and we got a ton of views. It was really cheap. It was like $10 for Rey. You know, if you wanted to spend all of the money on both of the characters, but not Starkiller, it was like, I don't know, $40, something like that, $30-$40. It's very, very cheap. And so I do want to say this before, just as a caveat. First off, guys, all of these characters are pretty close to equal. All right, I mean, they're not equal. They're all amazing. And if you have the opportunity to spend $10 or $20, $30, whatever is within the realm of your price range, if you want to spend money, it's probably going to be the best option. Probably gonna completely turn this list upside down. And in fact, the characters that we recently unlocked with those bundles are pretty far down the list. And so I just want to make sure you guys understand that. No pressure to spend. If you don't want to spend money, that's totally fine. If you do want to spend money, that's probably going to be the best choice. You should just drop everything and go for those instead. Just my 2 cents, folks. Just as a heads up. So one thing I do want to say, guys, is a huge shout out to my patrons. Thank you guys so much for all of the support. You guys are amazing, and I truly appreciate every single one of you. Here, let's make sure everyone can see the bottom right hand side for a second. I just ordered a bunch of new lights, actually, guys. Really excited. Couldn't have done it without you. A direct result of your support, and hopefully we'll be seeing that in about a week or so in my videos. This should increase the lighting in my face cam area. So, I mean, maybe we'll shave as well, and that will also increase the lighting. Yeah, that'll be great, guys. And I just want to remind you, if you want to support this channel for free, all you gotta do is hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, comment, mount the algorithm, guys. It's a good time. I mean, Rose's hot sister mounts the algorithm. I don't know if you guys knew that, but she does. We're trying to get to 20,000 subs, and by the end of the year, we're close, guys. We're close. I don't know if we can do it. It's like 1,000 subs, 900 subs, something like that, in 1 month. Please, I would really appreciate that. Would really, really appreciate that. Would be awesome. And I'm already appreciate you guys. Honestly, if we don't make it, that's fine. If we do make it, maybe I'll try to make Paige Tico part of one of my new intros. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? That's a goal to strive for, isn't it? Because we're working on infrastructure stuff. That means a new intro will hopefully be here soon enough. Hopefully by the end of the year. Now let's get going, folks. Let's talk about what the first through 15th farm is. So first, Executor. Now this is a change from the previous things. What I've discovered, folks, and decided is that I think that number one, you should be working on a good fleet. You need to get paid out for in arena. That's going to be the best crystal income you can get, and that's going to fuel all your other farms, all your other endeavors. That's the most consistent thing you can do, and you can do it pretty regularly, guys. An Executor, you can climb all the way to the top. It beats Profundity, it beats the Leviathan, it obviously wins the mirror match, really strong. The requirements also feed really well into, say, the Eternal Emperor, Jabba, Lord Vader even some of the LEIA stuff. And in Rise of the Empire, you beat something with it every single node, every single phase. Pretty good stuff. Piet is also, actually, he's a Relic 8 requirement for this. He is, in fact, in the Endor raid. So, that helps. He's like an indoor character. It's pretty interesting. Not to be confused with an outdoor character. So, even though it is outdoor, it's the third strongest fleet, and it's probably the most accessible fleet, folks, and it's going to set you up for a lot of different farms. I mean, Profundity has an interesting argument as well, though I do think Executor is probably the best. And also, I will just say, your foundation, one of the foundation factions in the whole game is going to be bounty hunters, and it requires a lot of bounty hunters here, and that's only going to help you throughout the game if you have a solid foundation. So working on that. The second one, and you can see at the top left, we have the cool white letters this time instead of the bright orange from the last video. So this is a huge departure from what I've done in the past. But in the past, I've said, guys, work on, say, the Eternal Emperor or Supreme Leader Kylo. Work on one of those two, because they're going to set you up for good fleets. They're going to set you up for, you'll have a kind of somewhat cheap Galactic Legend. And I've decided that it's not worth it for those two anymore to be on the top. And even though Jabba has kind of an expensive entry point, it does cost a little bit more than other Galactic Legends, you're going to set yourself up for so much more success. One of the things I didn't say on these little points is he's going to be extremely helpful, and you're going to be able to beat all of the proving grounds that you're going to have once you get to 4 million and start unlocking those conquest characters, which getting those proving grounds characters done as soon as you can is going to be incredibly important for your account. Jabba also is going to turbo boost your modding farming, which is something that you need to be working on a lot, and is going to get you a lot of stuff. He also, this is the crazy thing, guys, I was looking at this, and one of the realizations that I've made, we want to stay relevant, right? We want to, it's okay, the Hutt Cartel, the Crate Dragon raid is gone. Jabba's no longer relevant, right? But that's actually wrong. This is such a mind-blowing moment for me, folks. Look at this. So Jabba requirements for the Endor raid, so he requires Han Solo, which is part of the Endor raid. He also requires Jedi Luke, which in turn he requires Chewbacca, he requires a Lando, both of whom are in the Endor raid, and then he requires C-3PO, and the C-3PO is in the Endor raid. He's one of the most influential, amazing characters right now, unless CG fixes it next week. One way or another, he is still very relevant to the Endor raid, and C-3PO requires Ewoks, which are also obviously part of that raid. And so in some ways, Jabba is as relevant now in this raid, in the Endor raid, as he was in the Crate Dragon raid. As amazing as that sounds, I mean, he's relevant right now. He was relevant before. He's good in Rise of the Empire. He's good in PvE, PvP. He's the gift that keeps giving, folks. I mean, there's a lot of him. There's a lot to love about him, and there's a lot of him. So definitely one of the characters that you just want to be working on immediately, if at all possible. Now, we have Starkiller here, and here's the thing, guys. He's not, the most amazing character ever in the whole rest of the game. Not very good in PvE, necessarily, but here's the thing. First off, you're going to need dash for, I mean, you already need a dash for Jabba as a requirement, and you probably want to be farming Mara Jade anyways, just because Emperor Palpatine, by now you've probably unlocked him because he's one of the easiest Galactic Legends to unlock, and Palpatine goes hand in hand with Mara Jade. Just an amazing tandem early in the game, mid game, late game, and then they go with Star Killer. Talon is amazing there. Kyle Katarn just works on the Star Killer team if you want to do that. Or, as you'll see, Kyle Katarn actually sets up a lot of other farms here in a little bit. But, yeah, he is a very strong team. One thing that I want to point out, though, folks, as well, is just because you have Star Killer doesn't mean you have a full Star Killer team. You're still going to need a specific, one thing that you're really going to want to pay attention to is a light side Ufu, an unaligned force user to go with him, because he's not going to have that from anyone necessarily. So keep your eye out for that. And yeah, he is a wonderful character in PvP. He beats most of the GLs in PvP, especially early game. He's a lot of fun, folks. Tons of fun. The Profundity, Segavest fleet. The thing is, guys, if you want to stay relevant in this game, you need fleets. And maybe this is a little too early, and you're like, man, you only have one GL, man. Chill. You really want me to get another big fleet? Here's the thing. You get an Adrad team, which is amazing. Jack of all trades, relevant to the end game even today. Very, very strong team. On top of that, Profundity is also able to beat all the different fleets right now. It's very relevant, and it's also you already have Dash. You probably already farmed Outrider most of the way. Outrider is a big part of this fleet, and if you already have Jabba, you have Han. You have Chewbacca, because he's a requirement for Jedi Knight Luke, so you probably have the Millennium Falcon. And because you have Executor, you also have all the bounty hunters and everything from that, so you've been able to unlock Chewbacca. They all just kind of work nicely together. I'll be putting out a new player guide. I keep promising to do that, but gosh, things keep changing. I think I'll have one out by the end of the year. I'm really hoping, guys. It takes a lot of effort, but one way or another, this you want to be relevant in a lot of different game modes. Fleet is relevant. It's pervasive, guys. I can't drive home enough that fleets are important. And then the other thing is, guys, you don't have enough crystals early game to really, unless you want to spend money, you can spend money on crystals. I'm not gonna say that's good or bad. I mean, I think yeah, if you want to, that is a decent investment. I'll say that. But you need time for these ships to get all the way to come to maturity, because you're going to unlock it 4-star. You're going to eventually, it takes about a year and a half, a little more than that, to get these ships all the way. Maybe it's like 2 years, I forget, to go all the way from the unlock at 4-star all the way to 7-star, unless you spend crystals. And so it's something to be looking at, guys, early on. If you can get these fleets early on, you can farm them and kind of take your time and get all the way to the end. These fleets are also very relevant in the territory battle. They're relevant in all the different PvP, everything. The requirements for the Profundity are going to feed into other things. And remember, guys, because we're looking at the current situation in the raid, Hera is also required. She's a raid, well, not really requirement, but she can participate in the raid as well. All right, so Jedi Cal, this is maybe, I don't know, a little earlier. The thing is, by now we've probably gotten Jedi Revan unlocked. I'm just projecting here, guys, but Jedi Revan unlocked. You have Jedi Knight Luke unlocked from the Jabba requirements, and Jedi Cal. First off, guys, Jedi Cal is going to help you get into a better guild, because you can help them unlock Zepho, and that means you're going to get a ton of Kyrotech. You're going to change the trajectory of your bottlenecks significantly just by having all that extra Kyrotech if you can get into a Zepho guild in Rise of the Empire. And he's vital, guys, to be able to counter a lot of the new Galactic Legends, a lot of the old Galactic Legends. He works very well with Jedi Revan lead, Jedi Luke lead, and Jedi Master Luke lead. He's amazing, transcendent. All of his requirements are very relevant. You hopefully by now also have a fledgling Night Sisters team, which Marin transforms in a huge way. She's transformative even at 3 stars, gear 8. She's amazing. And so, she's a requirement for Cal, all these different things, probably early on. I'm interested to see, you guys will probably growl at me in the comments for suggesting we farm him this early on, but man, he's just so strong. He is so good. He is one of the best Jedi. And I know that the farms aren't accelerated yet. Yes, I realize that. That sucks. That's not fun. And if you want to just wait, then just freaking wait. But the farms, just slow farm. Don't quick farm them. This is someone you should at the very least be paying a lot of attention to, and once they become accelerated, those farms like make them a priority, and make Marin a priority anyways, guys, for goodness sakes. And also Jedi Cal, or sorry, Baby Cal is crazy strong with Starkiller, and I think he's a Cantina farm, so you can farm him pretty quick. Definitely worth a look, guys, at least at some of the requirements here. Now, LEIA is the most recent Galactic Legend, one of the things we didn't have from the last guide, and honestly, guys, once you get Jabba, you have most of the requirements. Like, you have Boosh, you have all this stuff. You just need the 4 marquee characters, and maybe if you want to push those back again, you can. You definitely can. Though all of these things are Endor relevant, of course they are. She's also got the recurring event as Endor Escalation 3, which, I mean, it'll add up to some stuff. It's probably not worth getting just for its own, but she's extremely strong in the Endor raid. Obviously, she's the best PvP character. She's going to be one of the best attacking characters, and she has... she's just going to destroy things, guys. The 4 marquee characters are obviously frustrating because they're slower farms, but I think a lot of people watching this are going to have already farmed a ton of those things just because of the additive drops and all the different things that CG has been giving us, all the bonus shards, all the everything. My guess is that you have a really nice head start, and then Nisa fits really nicely in with the Ewoks and all the characters. I was looking at it, I think, are all of her requirement characters also part of the Endor raid? I don't think all of them, but it's pretty close. I think like Chupio isn't, and I don't know, guys, like most of them are. So very, very, very relevant, and I mean, she's the new hotness, obviously. Worth getting. Now, you could, if you wanted to, kind of just transpose LEIA and Grumpface Luke. Between LEIA, Jabba, and Grumpface, you're going to have most of those requirements completed, including Profundity. I think it requires Mon Mothma, and Mothra is required with Grumpface Luke, required with... Is it required with LEIA too? There's this whole triangle of requirements, guys, and Grumpface Luke, he's great in Conquest. He's great in Rise of the Empire. He's also a raid character, folks. If you wanted to work on him early, look at his requirements. Oh, sorry, that was the wrong thing. Okay, so Jedi Luke, he requires Han Solo, so it's part of the raid. Jedi Luke with Chewbacca and Lando. C-3PO and Ewoks, so same exact things as Jabba. And then also Wedge and Biggs. I think they're part of that, aren't they? Now I'm totally spacing, guys. I apologize, but maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I'm terrible. I apologize for real, guys. I really don't know if they are part of it. Hold on a sec. Okay, that was what was messing me up, guys. Wedge is something that you can use in the Endor raid, but Biggs is not. So my apologies for that little misstep. But he's really strong. He's kind of missed a step, poor old guy. But I mean, Datacrons kind of keep him relevant, and he's been one of the best characters with Jedi Cal. They're countering everything, including Galactic Legend Leia to some extent. Really strong Galactic Legend. And like I said, you probably already have most of his requirements at this point. Plus, Jedi never stop being relevant. They're all over the place. You can't have Star Wars without Jedi, and Grumpface Luke is obviously one of the most important Jedi out there. He's going to incorporate any Jedi into his schemes pretty seamlessly. Now, we have Grand Inquisitor, and this one is like, okay, alright. here's another scheme to get into a better guild, guys. So if you want to get into a better guild, get a Riva ready Inquisition team ready, and get a Zepho team ready, and everyone's gonna love you. They'll be like, oh my gosh, you're only 1 million GP, we'll still take you. I mean, that's probably not what you want to do early on. They have really good ships if you can unlock them. I mean, they're both conquest ships, so who knows if you can unlock them at the point that you want to farm them. The reason I say Inquisition this early on is because you're going to want Riva at some point, and like trying to get into a good guild early is actually fairly important. And I don't think you should try to just beg a guild to be like, hey, can you please carry me? Like, find a way to contribute and do something awesome for that guild that's going to carry you, and you're going to get a lot better rewards. You're going to be in a better situation. And Rise of the Empire is territory battle is a great way to get into that. So Inquisition, really strong team if you have Riva. If you don't have Riva, this team is, and if you don't expect to get Riva anytime soon, you should probably push this way back. Honestly, it's not worth the Relic 7 nonsense unless, of course, so if you meet the two really important requirements, guys, to get this team up and running. Number 1, you have a fair expectation of getting Riva, or number 2, you have a fair expectation of getting into a much stronger guild after you get this team farmed and ready for Riva, so that you can start farming Riva as soon as you join that guild. Those are the two reasons that you should farm them this early. Otherwise, push it back until you meet one of those two requirements. Now, the next one, again, this is actually right hand in hand with Inquisition. If you can't unlock the 2 conquest characters for this, which is Malgus and his ship, the Fury Interceptor. If you can't get those 2 things, then Leviathan needs to be pushed back indefinitely, because you can't unlock it anyways. But at this stage, guys, you should be looking at your 3rd fleet, because if you're dominant in all the different arenas, in all the different things, I mean, ships are going to be huge in this game forever, I think. And, you know, being able to place first in ships arena, very important. And if they come out with a new fleet, you're gonna want the most recent fleet to be able to help you counter, because there's no guarantee that Executor, who will be at that point the 4th strongest fleet, is actually going to be able to counter it, or Profundity for that matter. And I mean, we have a creative community. We'll probably end up figuring out some way to do that, but Leviathan is going to be the most relevant strong ship for a long time. Yes, it's bugged, or was bugged. There's still some bugs. Hopefully it remains to one of the most influential, powerful ships, but you're going to want to farm it, and if you can get it early, again, you can slow farm those stars if you really want to. I mean, it really does love being 7 stars. Out of all the ships, probably the favorite 7-star out of all the 3 Galactic Legend level ships is going to be Leviathan, because of some of the cool stuff, abilities it unlocks at 7 stars, but ships, guys, I can't emphasize enough how important they are. Out of the first 9 farms, I've suggested you farm 3 Galactic Legend ships. Now, as I said before with Inquisition, push it back if you can't get those conquest characters, but you should be eyeing those characters as soon as you can, and you should be looking at what you can do to get Malgus and the Scythe. No, it's not the Scythe, it's the Fury Interceptor unlocked as soon as you can. Now, Jedi Master Kenobi, folks. He's a tricky one for me, because I'm almost like, do you really need him at this point? Also, Watt is incredibly hard to farm. Now you can only farm him with, what, GT3? Is that correct? Maybe you can use GT2 now. I think it's just 3, though. And otherwise, if your guild is doing the Geo battle, I guess, the Geonosis territory battle, I would advise finding a better guild, frankly, but you need Watt, and then you also need Cat, which is a conquest unlock, and she's really tough. She's amazing. The thing is, she boosts a lot of other teams before she boosts Kenobi, and when you finally get Kenobi, it's like, well, okay, like, cool, I'm glad I have Kenobi. That's fine. We'll do this. Glad I have him. and then he just gets married to Kat, and she never leaves his side again, and it's very, very sad, because she makes Dash hit crazy hard. She makes Padme destroy galactic legends left and right. Yes, he's more powerful with Kat and everything. If you can't get Kat and you can't get Watt, then this is another one. Like this is the 8, 9, 10 chain are all characters that it's like, well, okay, you need to keep pushing it back. Is if you can't get those requirement characters, because Kat is kind of tough to get early game. Watt can be tough these days to get to 7 stars early game, and if you can't get those, then I guess just keep pushing it back. The thing is, he's still countering all the galactic legends for the most part, assuming you have Kat. If you don't have Kat, then stop listening, earmuffs. And otherwise, one of the things that I love about him is the fact he stops turn meter gain from anyone. His whole team, they swap turns a lot, because they swap like full turns. Like they're like, okay, here's the swap turn meter, and that for some reason that's different than gaining bonus turn meter. But he stops it. Really, really strong character. Even still, he's less and less relevant, unfortunately. But yeah, he's still very strong. If you have Kat and you have Watt, and you probably already have a ton of these other characters unlocked for him. But I mean, there's a lot of pilots here. He's a good character to just unlock kind of early. Unfortunately, I mean, yeah, you could almost put him at the end at this point. Like Kat just goes with so many other teams, guys. Lord Vader is next. I think I moved him up a little bit from the last one. Here's the thing, guys. So the Marauder is a ship I expect to be very relevant moving forward. It's the Bad Batch shuttle, and so that you're gonna be farming Bad Batch with him. He's aging really well. Datacrons have been a godsend for him. People used to call him Lord Failure, and now, I mean, he's like one of the highest defensive rating characters in GAC right now, because he's so strong. He really likes Maul. If you don't have Maul, then maybe you could put him off a little bit. I mean, he's still really strong without Maul, though, for the most part. You gotta catch him all here, folks. So, otherwise, yeah, he's got all of his requirements are really strong. Yes, I think he's the second most expensive galactic legend now. I think LEIA took his spot, but one way or another, he's very strong. He's kind of much maligned by the community for some reason. He's really strong, though. I'm always like, man, if my opponent didn't have Lord Vader, my life would be so much better. So, all right, Supreme Leader Kylo did get moved up a little bit, I think. I go back and forth on whether I like his fleet. The thing is, his fleet's not going to kill Profundity. It's not going to kill the new Sith Leviathan ship, and probably not going to kill the next really good Galactic Legend level ship either. But Supreme Leader Kylo is going to counter, like, he counters Leia right now. He counters Jabba. He counters Lord Vader, and he struggles against Kenobi, though he can, in some circumstances, be able to. Like, he counters all the Galactic Legends for the most part, and like PvE, he's pretty strong. He needs a good support network. You need to know what you're doing, but he's good there. The thing is, his fleet, yeah, it does okay. It kills a lot of different Executor builds. I just recently killed a triple attacker fleet with Executor, or with Finalizer, which is pretty cool. It does some cool stuff. He does cool stuff. You get terrible banners. He's terribly inefficient. He's also a bundle Galactic Legend, so I think there's a decent chance that he's just gonna show up for you guys to just purchase for free, kind of. So, I mean, he's someone I would kind of delay anyways, just to wait and see, maybe for a couple months. I mean, he's fine. There's also just not much of his teams, like his factions or his requirements, that overlap with other characters. It's like, what, Emperor Palpatine, and that's it, maybe? There's not much overlap, so he's fine. He used to be one of the top or the bottom characters to farm on these guides. I think he and Sith Eternal Emperor, obviously, not super high. Now, we do have Rey here as well. I think I'd rather have Rey than I'd rather have Supreme Leader Kylo. The thing is, I'd rather have, the tiebreaker, though, is I like Kylo's fleet a lot more. Radis is just less and less relevant. I'm sorry to say. I wish it was more relevant. Obviously, the focus is on fleets, but her fleet is just not that existent. Also, one of the bundle characters that I would say, you know, probably pretty likely that we're going to be getting another version of her at some point, or not another version, but another bundle for her. And she's really strong. She does a lot of cool stuff. She destroys things. The one thing I would point out, though, guys, is you do need Ben Solo Swolo to be able to be top tier for her. She's really strong. You also, Zori is really strong. I mean, she's not even accelerated yet, unfortunately, but Zori is very relevant in this faction, and even though Zori, you can't really put her on defense anymore because Night Sisters just destroy every version of her. Rey's pretty strong, guys. She's really good. The requirements are still not that great, though a lot of those characters go really well with Zori, etc. So, I mean, I would rather have her than Kylo on you know, a lot of rosters, but like I said, Kylo's fleet, it just kind of breaks the tiebreaker. Okay, we have Backpack Emperor, and man, if anyone needs a boost, it's probably him. Jedi Master Luke got Jedi Cal, so that's nice. I think Backpack Emperor, just he's ready to go on his adventure with his little backpack, you know, and his wrinkled face and his like claws, but he's not ready to go on an adventure. Like, he needs a babysitter. He needs, like, Watt or armor, maybe both. And you can't, like, what Galactic Legends does he kill these days? I mean, he kills a lot, I guess. I mean, he'll kill Kenobi, usually, depending on the Datacron situation. He'll kill Supreme Leader Kylo. He'll take out Rey if she doesn't have Ben Solo. He does some good stuff. He's like fine, I guess. The problem is, he really could use some help. He's aging very poorly, guys. As a Galactic Legend, yeah, he does okay in Rise of the Empire and other PvE things. He's okay. And his requirements are all good for the most part. There's a couple that suck, but for the most part, like, you're gonna farm those things naturally. So by the time you get to his farm, you probably don't need to farm that much stuff. He is a Galactic Legend. He's kind of right now. In my mind, he's the least of the Galactic Legends. Like, you can just still casually kill him with like General Grievous or Afra or something like that. He's also he is a raid character though. With Stark and Veers in the, I think that they're both. Are they both part of the? They're troopers. They're part of the Endor mission. You know, I'm obviously really good at remembering what raid characters are required or, you know, allowed in this new raid. But one way or another, guys, he's fine-ish. He needs a boost, in my opinion. His required ships are probably going to be farmed as soon as possible. Like, you should probably be farming those. They should be done way before this point. And then finally, guys, we have Afra, and this bums me out in a big way. She has a really cool Datacron coming up, and I know I just recently put out a video saying swerve for Afra, and I mean, if you watch that video, you know that I was just saying, in that case, maybe just like think about it, because her Datacron is so fun. If you're really close to finishing her but you're working on something else, maybe just swerve for a minute, finish unlocking Afra, then move back to your farm. But for the most part, she's not required for anything. None of her requirements are required for anything. Her requirements are fine, they're good. Sana sucks, she's horrible, she's not even accelerated yet. But there's just no overlap. There's no reason to have Afra other than just the one extra team that you would have in GAC, which is nice. It is nice to have, and if you have her Datacron, it's crazy strong right now. But otherwise, she's not really that relevant, guys. I'm wondering when we will need her, or at least something required, because at least Starkiller requires like you need dash for other farms, right? For the Profundity, for Jabba. You don't need anything for Afra. Afra could just disappear from the game, and it would be sad because she's a fun team, but she doesn't really impact that much. At some point, someone's going to be required, and then we're going to be sorry for not farming her. But for right now, I just don't see any reason to advise it, guys. She's strong in PvP, Not required in PvE. You just don't need her, guys. So that's it. What do you guys think of this list? I would love to hear what your thoughts are. Respectful disagreement is always encouraged. Love to hear what you guys' thoughts are. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Xerath prevails.